back to Dale Samuels and running up into the last few years. Great quarterbacks. Right now, the Iowa Hawkeyes have settled on their quarterback, but this team, Iowa, like Purdue, ripped by injuries, and I love the line of John Cooper of Arizona State when he said, with so many injuries, that our team picture this year is going to be an X-ray. There's the series record, and we're going to add one more in a moment. This ABC Sports Exclusive brought to you by Honda, who invites you to experience the new Civic four-door sedan at your local Honda dealer. By Michelob Light, when the sun goes down, light up the night with Michelob Light. By the U.S. Armed Forces, it's a great place to start. And by the makers of the CFA VCR College Bowl Game. You don't have to be a football great to play great football. This is one of those days, Bob Greasy, when you think about looking at the flags, and once you look at the flags, you then have to make your choice of where do you want the wind at your back, I would think, in the second and fourth quarters.
Well, Purdue won the toss and chose to defend the goal to our left, which is the way the wind is blowing, which means that they want to get their defense out there first.
That has been their main suit. For Iowa, Tony Stewart and Peter Marciano will be there. There's the weather. And if the sun does pop out, the temperature will improve some, I'm sure. But it rained a goodly bit last night. They almost had to call for a Zamboni, but they came out and swept the water off by hand about an hour ago. And right now, in fact, for most of the morning, there has been no rain. It's just one of those cold, wet days. And the wind, we're told, will probably increase as the afternoon goes on, perhaps getting up in the neighborhood of 20, 25 miles an hour. Jonathan Briggs will kick off for Purdue. He is a senior out of West Lafayette, number 20, and he has been a great portion of the Purdue offense in this season and may very well with the wind at his back, because in warm-ups I saw him hit one better than 60 yards. So Briggs hits it, hangs it up to the 10-yard line. Tony Stewart bringing it back, and Stewart almost popped out of the wedge. He comes across the 30 and up to the 32. Cook, Wester, Point, and Anderson, Schmidt, Alexander up front for the Hawkeyes. If they're not terribly familiar, there's a good reason. They've shuffled them around. Watkins split in early. The wingback, Hartlieb, the quarterback, with Hudson and Stewart behind him. Harmon may play some today. Incidentally, we were told that Rick Bayless may eventually come back as well and play some at the end of the season. Rick having suffered the injury early on. So let's call this the 33-yard line, where it's first down for the Hawkeyes. Craig Clark is in there as they go double wide to the top. Ball is given to Dave Hudson. Hudson is a 235-pound fullback. This was the kind of offensive set they tried to get going against Michigan and were not particularly successful when they ran out of tailbacks. Visco, Keever, Gilday, Leggett. Visco particularly good on that defensive front. Linebackers are pretty good for the Boilers, particularly Strickland, the man in the middle. And in the secondary, Foster is the hitter. You'll see him blitz some today, I would think. Jackson very quick. Richard Bass, number 23, now checks into the backfield for Iowa from the 36-yard line. Hartlieb rolls it out and unloads to the sideline. The pass is caught by Quinn Early, the fine senior player from Great Neck, New York, and I'll be surprised if he doesn't catch a lot today.
If form holds up, Keith, Hartlieb and Quinn Early should have a big day, and by that I mean man-to-man coverage in the secondary most all the time by the Purdue Boilermakers. It's a little bit surprising that a college team in these days would play a lot of man-to-man defense in the secondary. Most of the time you see conservative, deep zones in college football.
It is a first down for Iowa. The ball is at their own 48-yard line, and Hartlieb, on a little delay, hands the ball off to Tony Stewart. And Stewart's going to have another first down for the Hawkeyes as he gets inside the Purdue 42. Brought down by Mark Foster.
Watch the center, Bill Anderson, number 50, on the block on Strickland. He gets a piece of the tackle. Now he gets off and blocks Strickland. Foster, number 31, the free safety, has to come up and finally drag him down as Strickland gets there a little bit late.
So Iowa comes out moving the ball. sun trying to come out from behind the clouds. Just inside the 42 on the Purdue side of the field. Hudson is back. The lone back has the ball, goes off the right side, brought down by number 70. That's a good defensive play by Chris Keevers, a 255-pound senior from Noblesville, Indiana.
Purdue's strength defensively is their middle linebacker, Strickland, and their free safety, Foster. They play an aggressive style, man-to-man coverage. They blitzed a lot a few weeks ago against Illinois and caused 10 fumbles, 8 of which they recovered.
Hayden rotating his backs. Apparently they are the messengers for him today. Bass is back in. Hartlieb rolls it left. Pressure backside. Passes away. Early again. And he's inside the 30-yard line. Derek Kelson and Mark Foster. But if you're going to cover Early in man defense, you better be quick.
No question. And Jackson is a true freshman. Early, the second leading receiver in the Big Ten. That was Fishman that time. Jackson on the other side as they flopped their corners. Dishman missed all of last year because of grades. But this is picking them apart is Hartlieb.
Ball is at the 28-yard line, and this is Tony Stewart. And Stewart's finding room on the right side. He moved Jim Poynton into right guard, Hayden Fry did today, to work alongside of Herb Wester, who is almost surely their top lineman at this particular point, because Cratch, who was considered their best one, is injured and will not be able to play. Apparently has a broken bone in his leg.
Hayden Fry told us that Cratch had an opportunity to be the best offensive lineman ever to come out of Iowa. And they've had quite a few good offensive linemen come from this school.
Bass is the lone setback. The ball is at the 23. Bass has it, picks his way through the middle, and picks up the first down at the Purdue 16-yard line, where Mark Foster, the free safety, the center fielder in the secondary, brings him down.
Watch the block of 55, Alexander, as he blows Leggett over, and then the center, Anderson, gets another nice block. Nice running up front. Offensive line of Iowa dominating that defensive line for Purdue on this first drive.
Purdue needs to get some defensive pressure from its ends to keep Hartlieb from buying so much time as he rolls it out. But so far they haven't. On first down, again that little delay, and again right up the middle goes Tony Stewart, and the redshirt freshman from Vauxhall, New Jersey, running with some authority. They're just blowing him out of the middle at this particular point.
Iowa has not run the ball very well the last few weeks. They're 8th in the Big Ten in rushing offense and 1st in passing offense, so they've done very well. Fred Akers' defense has played better against the run than they have against the pass.
It is 2nd down and 4. The ball is at the 9 of Purdue. Again, the lone back carries it, Richard Bass, and Bass is inside the 5, and it'll be 1st and goal for Iowa at the Purdue 3. So this drive, it's been bang, bang, bang. They've thrown 2 passes. The rest of it's been run. And they've been running with, as I said, authority.
And it's been mostly running inside the tackles, and the 2 passes were similar, one to the right, one to the left, a half row, and a pass to Early, one-on-one on the corner.
They put the big tight end in now. That is Mike Flagg, 6'6", 250. The tight end stands up. There he is at the top of the picture. Give the ball, bouncing outside, Bass. Touchdown, Hawkeyes.
Nothing up the middle. Bass has the ability and the quickness to get around in for the touchdown. That drive was awfully easy, and I'm sure that there is some concern on the sideline for the Boilermakers.
Rob Houtland will go for the point after. Chuck Hartley puts the snap down. He hooks it up and in. Good. So it didn't take that long, did it? 11:01 to go in the first quarter, or the first possession. Iowa leads it 7-0.
From 1961 through 1980, Purdue beat Iowa in 20 consecutive games.
Well, Hayden Fry, his team with a couple of losses on the season in the Big Ten, 4-3 overall, still with a chance to go to a bowl game, and they look impressive on that possession. Jarrett Scales and Anthony Hardy are the deep people for Purdue. Hardy playing with a very sore shoulder, but they desperately need him because they need his quickness and particularly his kick return ability. Outland will kick off. He will kick into the wind. Rob oftentimes will get the ball up, and if he gets it up here, the wind's going to hang it up, and Purdue should get pretty good field position if they handle it all right.
Purdue's decision to defend the go to our left did not pan out. Their defense was just taken aback by the offense of Iowa, and now we'll see what their offense can do.
He got it up in the air. It goes to Hardy as his wedge goes up the sidelines. They do have good field position as Anthony Hardy comes back to the 35-yard line where Houtland, the kicker, shoves him out of bounds. Connors, Brenneman, Kreitz, Rose, Richmond, Connor. O'Connor, the tight end. Schumacher won't play today, probably. Williams and Hardy outside. McCarthy is there's the quarterback, Miles and Cheney. Miles is in there because Medlock, their principal running back for them this season, has a very sore thigh. And so he may not play at all today on this cold day. All right, the Boilermakers with a 6-7 quarterback trying to make it go from their 35, trailing 7-0. No contact. Hawkeyes almost jumped. McCarthy shot down the middle. He threw it into double coverage. Dwayne O'Connor, the tight end, had two black shirts around him. McCarthy tried to force it in there. And I would say that Sean's got to have some wet palms.
Well, what you've got is your punter throwing it to your backup tight end on that play right there. As you mentioned, Schumacher, their fine tight end, who's 6'7", also not starting today because of an injury.
2nd down and 10. Darren Miles, the lone remaining back. And he's got the ball. And he'll move it up to about the 39 for about a 4-yard pickup as J.J. Puck brought him down. Schuster, Haight, and Thomas. Haight going to be very active in the middle, number 64. Ridley, Puck, Quast, Mott. Those two guys in the middle, Puck and Quast, will put a hat on you. And the defensive secondary for Iowa, Hanks, Burt, Sistrunk, and Wright. And the center fielder there, free safety Sistrunk, is the hitter in the secondary. Oglesby is now in there at wideout for Purdue. He is the 3rd wide receiver. Robert Oglesby, a sophomore from Detroit. Ball is thrown underneath, intended for Anthony Hardy. The pass is incomplete. And Iowa jumping around on homecoming weekend, all pumped up, leading 7-0. And they hold the Boilers. So now the quarterback, McCarthy, will go back to do the punting, averaging right at 41 yards per kick on 37 punts this season. The return man for Iowa is Peter Marciano, whose uncle was Rocky. Yes, he is out of Brockton, Massachusetts. So McCarthy has survived his first series at quarterback, and now the 6'7" lanky fellow will try to hang it up in the wind. Didn't get it up in the wind. He hit a line drive and gives Marciano room from the 18. Turns it up across the 25 to the 27 for Chris Kaminsky, the snapper, a mere 164 pounds. But don't really believe that, because Chris went to the sports information people and said, will you guys do me a favor? Give me a little more weight, will you? He actually weighs in at about 161. Now it is put-up time for the Purdue defense. Iowa's first possession, they just drove it right down the field for the touchdown. Most of that coming in the middle between the tackles. Hudson is the lone back. Purdue jumping around on defense, and they caught him. Almost caught him.
Well, the reason they're jumping around, Keith, is because Iowa is shifting their tight end from one side to the other, and they're shifting the strength of their formation. Purdue's defense lines up on the strength of a formation. If you change it, it's very simple for the offense to change it by moving a tight end. Defensively, they've got to change 3 or 4 people. They ought to continue doing that. That's going to cause all kinds of problems defensively for Purdue.
Second down, 5. Hartlieb hands the ball off to Stewart. And Stewart this time will get 1 yard on that carry. Well, Fred Akers doesn't, and his coaching staff simply don't have any choice. They have to gamble and gamble. They've got to play man. They've got to get as many people in pursuit as they can.
Well, he told me the other day that he put his defense in, built the foundation from the first day he got there. He didn't necessarily have the style of players, the type of players to play that style of defense, but instead of doing the safe thing and just playing a 3-deep zone and a containing, laid-back defense, he's going to put in his style from the start, and that's a charging, man-to-man defense.
Third down and 4. They go stay with the run, and Stewart breaks it for the first down to the 40, where the middle linebacker, Fred Strickland, makes the tackle.
There's Strickland in the middle. The middle linebacker leads the Big Ten in tackles, slides across and makes the play, but Iowa picks up the first down.
Purdue has shown so far no penetration.
It's been all Iowa offense. They've been controlling the line of scrimmage with a banged-up offensive line.
First down for the Hawkeyes. Hartlieb rolls it out, looking for Early. Got him. Throws him out of bounds at the 48-yard line of Purdue. Chris Dishman, the corner over there, a redshirt senior out of Louisville, Kentucky.
This is the third time they've thrown the football, and it's been all the same pass. Dishman almost cut in front of him. I wouldn't be surprised to see now Early go back and say, hey, let's run that out and up. And we may have something out there. Dishman is out there by himself, one-on-one with Early. Early's an outstanding receiver, won the Big Ten long jump championship in 1986, and this past spring finished 3rd, so he can really move.
He's on the wide side now, the open side of the field at the bottom of the picture. Hartlieb may be looking for him. He is. He's open. That's pretty good play there by the defender, as Chris Dishman that time was well off and then had to catch up, but he did have the foot speed to do it.
Well, Hartlieb just gets the ball there a little bit too late. As you see, Early makes his move to the inside, has Dishman turned around. The ball should be there right now, but it takes too long, and Dishman, with his speed, gets back to knock it away. That time, Hartlieb took too much time in getting the ball there.
Throwing into the wind, too. He just didn't have enough zing on it.
Nice job by Early, though, making his move to the inside to make Dishman think he was going to the post, and then broke back to the outside.
Second down and 10. Give it away to Hudson. Hudson eludes one man at the line of scrimmage and powers inside the 40, and he may have another first down. I think he does. Boy, there's just absolutely no penetration at all by the Purdue defensive front.
And coming into the ball game, Purdue had some success in getting across the line of scrimmage and making things happen in the backfield of the offensive teams they've been playing. One of the reasons they've gotten so many fumbles is that they're playing man-to-man, they blitz a lot, and they get in there and they cause some confusion, some havoc. That has not been the case yet here today.
Grant Goodman is in the lineup in the backfield now as they shift Hudson out. Hudson picks up one block for Hartlieb, who goes deep to Early. Touchdown. Just exactly what you call.
Well, they've thrown 4 passes. 3 of them have been a half roll, and Early will go down and break to the outside. Now here, he breaks to the outside. He set up the deep pass, and it's exactly what we were expecting. The ball is perfectly thrown. Dishman is there, but doesn't make the play, and it's 2 drives and 2 touchdowns for the Hawkeyes.
That a 38-yard scoring pass. Outland is in. Early now has caught 4 here in the first quarter for 76 yards and a touchdown. The kick is good. So at 7:50, to go in the first quarter. Iowa jumps out to a 2-touchdown lead.
Go back and take a look at the last touchdown. Now Hartlieb is going to semi-roll. Now watch him pump right there when Early made his out move. Then he throws the ball, a nice throw into the wind. The only place he can throw it is high and outside, give his man an opportunity to catch it. And Dishman was right there but didn't make the play. Nice throw, and you could see that coming, Keith. 3 outs and then an out and up.
Yep. I figured Mr. Early would have a day. And he certainly got a running start on it.
He's made 4 catches and 1 touchdown.
Scales and Hardy deep for Houtman's kick. Wynn grabs that one, and it's taken by an up man, number 32, Jerome Sparkman. Jerome didn't want to mess with it. He put that knee down and secured it. Here's Mike Adamle.
Well, Keith, here's a little Big Ten lore. This is the official coin that they tossed flip before the game. On the head side is the picture of the great Iowa All-American and Heisman Trophy winner Niall Kinnick. Now, somebody told me that when the Hawkeyes play at home, they usually call heads, the Kinnick side. Well, I did a little experiment. I flipped it about 10 times. It only landed heads twice. That's probably why they lost the coin toss today. Kinnick was a great football player, but he's a lousy good luck charm.
Great history and a great man. We have a feature on Niall Kinnick. Mike does at halftime. We'll enjoy it. All right, Sean McCarthy, 6'7" quarterback, gets his pass away under pressure, and it is incomplete. Joe Mott came out there and laid a lick on him. Little slow. It's hard. I know that Iowa has a 6'7" quarterback in McGuire, but it's hard for a 6'7" guy to unfold and get away from the snap.
Especially when you have a defensive end like Mott, number 97, in your face. Doug Downing is the normal starting quarterback for the Boilermakers. He is injured. He got hurt last week. He had a hip pointer. He also had a shoulder problem going into the game, last week's game. The thing that kept him out this week is a sprained arch. He was on crutches all week and didn't make the trip.
Mashek, the backup quarterback, the freshman, could play today, but probably won't be able to throw. He has a sore shoulder, deep bruise. McCarthy rolls it again, gets better protection, and hits his man. That's a pretty good pass. And the ball from the 21 out to about the 26. So it's a long throw for short yardage.
Looking at it defensively, 64 is Haight, their outstanding nose tackle. He's trying to fight around 2 blocks. And a nice throw on the sideline, 1 foot in bounds, and a good completion.
Jerry Cheney, who's listed as a tailback, but is the leading receiver on the ball club, made that catch. So it's 3rd down and 6. Well, the Hawkeyes got caught. They were trying to anticipate, trying to jump around and jump in. Joe Schuster, the big senior out of Faribault, Minnesota, got caught in the neutral zone. Did you do that when you were a quarterback? You'd see a big goal lineman frothing at the mouth, jump into the neutral zone and call a quick snap, catch him?
Against the defense. Well, what I like to do is pull them off with the inflection of your voice, the cadence. A non-rhythmic count, you can do that. You don't have to say hut 1, hut 2, hut 3. You can say hut, hut, hut. And the inflection, more than anything else, will pull the people off the sides. And normally, it'll be the nose tackle, the man closest to the ball, but also closest to your voice, and you can affect him more than anybody else.
Frommeyer is in there now for Purdue. And the Boilermakers on 3rd and 1 get stuffed at the line of scrimmage. As Frommeyer tried for it, he's out of Quebec. And he didn't gain a thing.
Iowa's defense is ranked as the top defense in the Big Ten. And they certainly showed it on that play as they stopped Purdue and is forcing them to kick the ball away.
So with Downing and Mashek both injured, McCarthy in there. Right now, the backup quarterback could well be Robert Oglesby, who was an option quarterback in high school in Detroit.
And why not? McCarthy hasn't done anything in 2 drives. It would give Iowa something else to worry about in the first half.
4th and a yard McCarthy will punt it. His first one was, as you see, 43. A low line drive, but he gets this one in the air, and the wind helps him. That's a good kick. And it runs Peter Marciano way back upfield, and they finally down him at the 20. So that's a 55-yard punt by Sean McCarthy at 6:55 to go in the first quarter. This is Iowa's third possession. That incidentally 55-yard punt by McCarthy was the longest of his career, previous best having been 53. Hartlieb comes trotting off the sideline now. Hayden Fry calls the plays for Iowa. And so far, he's done pretty well in this point.
2 for 2 isn't bad. He was a quarterback at Baylor, enjoys the challenge of calling the plays. He says it's like a chess game, and he does a nice job with it.
The deep man Stewart out of the I formation, maybe a yard on that carry. 14-0. Iowa leading, and coming up next on ABC Sports, Game 6 of the World Series, and they're back in the Homer Dome in Minneapolis for this one, with the Cardinals on top 3-2. Les Straker pitching today for Minnesota, and John Tudor for the Cardinals. Goodness knows what Tudor might have done this year if he had not had that unfortunate incident in which his leg was cracked by a fellow sliding into the dugout early on. This is Hartlieb. He goes to the tight end, Mike Flagg. And Flagg is out of bounds up at the 28, just short of the first down. His big target, 6'6", 250.
Iowa has 3 outstanding tight ends. They've got Marv Cook, they've got Mike Flagg, and then they also have a kid named Clark. They're all outstanding players and outstanding students. In fact, all 3 were academic All-Big Ten last year. And Fred Akers says they like to use all 3 of them, and he expects to see 2 or 3 of them in the lineup at the same time a lot today.
Third down, about 2.5, and they pitch it back to Stewart. And just enough. He took that little swing out and then squared his shoulders and got his legs under him and had the drive to get across the 30 and pick up the first down. You saw that Mike Flagg was from Cedar Falls, Iowa. We spent the weekend in Cedar Rapids. I haven't found the falls, nor have I found the rapids.
No falls and no rapids.
31-yard line. Hawkeyes first down. Big hole for Hudson to midfield. Oh, the Iowa offensive front is just blowing them out of the ballpark.
Watch the blocking over here on the left side of the formation as the ball carrier is going to come this way. Alexander's 55 blocking on 41 Liggett. He gets blown into the ground. Foster, number 31, misses. And he gets across midfield. I'll tell you, the offensive line is just dominating the line of scrimmage.
And especially when that free safety has come up and committed himself to the melee and then can't find him.
Well, you know you're in trouble when your weak safety or your free safety is your second leading tackler on the ball club, and that's what Foster is. In fact, Foster leads all of the defensive backs in the Big Ten in tackles and is ranked 5th overall in the conference in tackles, so he's making a lot of plays.
Tonight, O'Hara at a special time, followed by the All-Star Gala Ford Theater presentation with Baryshnikov, Mikhail joined by Don Johnson and B. Arthur. Then the romantic evening at the St. Gregory on Hotel. All starting at 8, 7 Central here on ABC tonight. That's assuming the World Series doesn't go 34 innings.
You know, I think if St. Louis probably has as good a chance of winning that game tonight or this afternoon with Tudor pitching as they do tomorrow, because Tudor was very impressive in his first start in the series in St. Louis.
I think maybe a better chance.
Yeah, if it goes down to a 7th game in the Metrodome, even Steven, you definitely have to give the advantage to the Twins.
They'll need a new roof if they pull that thing out. They'll blow that off. All right, Iowa working at midfield on first down. Hartlieb goes for Early, and good play that time by Chris Dishman. So though Chris has been burned, and Byrne for a touchdown. He's a gamer, looks like.
Well, it's a tough job, man-to-man coverage on Early. Early is an outstanding receiver with good speed. Again, at the top of your screen, it's what you've seen the last 5 passes. This is the only pass they've thrown as Dishman makes a nice play. The only variation to that was an out and up that Early ran for the touchdown.
Travis Watkins, number 2, goes to the open side this time. Look out, he hasn't seen the ball yet, and he's a burner. 2nd down and 10. Dishman chucks Early. He comes back for the ball and makes the catch at the 46 of Purdue. Dishman got his chuck on him all right, but Early turned and then took 1 step back toward the quarterback and made a good catch of a low throw.
We better start finding out what the records for a reception by a wide receiver are in the Big Ten. Early already has 5, and we haven't even played a quarter. We got 4 minutes and 30 seconds to go in the first quarter.
88 yards running and passing now for Iowa. Purdue is yet to get a first down. They try to blitz, but they pick them up, and it's deflected at the line of scrimmage. Number 48 got his hand on it, Fred Strickland. Just enough to knock it away, and they did have a man over in the wide flat available. And now Ross Blunt comes in. Blunt is a story. He is a sophomore out of West Des Moines, Iowa. This is the first punt of his career. One says sophomore, one says junior. He's an unknown factor, but Hayden Fry, who doesn't feel he's had the kind of punting and kicking game he wanted, takes a bit of a gamble in putting Blunt into the ball game, and his first punt has to go into the wind, and he didn't spin it very much, but still he has put the ball down at the Purdue 14. So it's a 32-yard punt, but actually quite efficient.
Well, Hayden has not been pleased with any of his special teams play, and particularly his punting and his net punting. In fact, last week against Michigan, their average drive started inside their own 20-yard line. Net punting was a big part of that, and also the lack of any kind of a return.
I tell you, when you're playing your 8th game of the season and you're still looking to fill holes, you've got some problems, don't you? First down. McCarthy, the quarterback. Play a little slow to develop. Darren Miles never really had a chance. Steve Thomas was right there. The senior from Denver, number 52.
Thomas is a 5th-year senior, and Fry says that he can make some big plays. He'll bust through, get in the backfield, cause a fumble to happen. He's played very well and has 2 sacks already in the short time he's played this year. Had some injuries early in the season.
There's a loss of about a half yard on that play. They've got to look to Hardy here. He's the speedster. So far, they haven't been able to get him the ball. They tried in their first possession. McCarthy looking, gets it away, and it is caught for a first down. Calvin Williams, the flanker, a sophomore out of Baltimore, Maryland, hauled it in. And the Boilermakers have their first down.
And here's Williams up here. He's just going to come down and break to the outside, and the play action fake is going to hold the linebackers for a second. So you see the play action. Now, McCarthy has no problem seeing over the linebackers because he's 6'7". That's one of the advantages of being that tall. Also, the disadvantage, obviously, you're usually a little slower.
From the 34 for Purdue, first down. This is Miles. Couple of yards. J.J. Puck, 32. Sean Ridley, 90 on that tackle.
Purdue has got to establish some kind of a running game to have a chance. They just can't put it all on McCarthy, who is, this is his first start. He is the punter, as we mentioned, for the Boilermakers. But you couldn't ask for anything worse as far as Purdue is concerned, because their leading ground gamer James Medlock, is out of the ball game with a thigh injury.
Give him 3, call it 2nd down and 7. Little wide receiver screen set up for Hardy. Hardy, with a sore shoulder, was able to duck under the hit of Dwight Sistrunk. Sistrunk came flying up out of his free safety spot, and he was going to really lay one on him, but he ducked away from it and didn't take the punishment.
Hardy is a man that they need to get the ball to. If you're looking for big play people on offense for Purdue, he is it. Now with Downing out of the lineup and Schumacher, their tight end, also out of the lineup, and Medlock, their fullback and leading ground gainer, out of the lineup, Hardy is the man to get the football to, and that was one of the good ways to do it, that last play.
3rd down, 3. Pass is good. And close to a first down to Jerry Cheney. That was a good hit by Kerry Burt as he was able to get his shoulder on him, the force on him, and trying to hold him short of the first down. They had a 3rd and a very short previously, and were stuffed trying to get it, and they may be a little short right here, depending on the spot. And a personal foul. That's a first down. Jim Kimberling is the referee today, and you've got a personal foul call against Iowa.
Nice job inside on Haight, 64, as McCarthy completes his 4th straight pass.
First down.
Right there, the forearm to the head area. It was the foul that was called on Kerry Burt.
A little too aggressive. The ball goes to the Iowa 41. Umpire today, Les Rulin, head linesman Tom Ransom. Line judge John Ask, field judge Otto Pulse, side judge Henry Armstead, and the back judge is Glenn Fortin. So it's first down Boilermakers. First time today they've had the ball on the Iowa side of the field. There's the problem with the new quarterback.
No question about it, Keith. Sometimes he delays when he shouldn't. Sometimes he tries to check off. It's just a little bit different. And I'm sure McCarthy's a little nervous also.
He isn't human.
That's for sure.
We have dead ball, illegal shift against the offense, first down.
McCarthy was a fine quarterback in college, grew up in Ohio, and had some ideas of going to Ohio State. They weren't that interested in him. In high school, I mean, not college. And wanted to go to Ohio State, but ended up at Purdue and is getting his opportunity to play quarterback.
First down at 15 as the ball comes back to the 46. Passes away. Hardy's there and makes the catch. And he is very, very close to his first down. He's maybe just a tad short of the 31 as Sistrunk hauled him down.
We go pass up the first man, and there's a man deep. He just hooks in between them. And nice timing on the play, to the credit of McCarthy, that he got the ball there when the man made his break.
Sean has now hit 5 in a row. Confidence is growing. Second down, 1 yard short of the first down. Miles, the setback. Has it, dives to the 30 and has the first down. He took a pretty good lick from big old Dave Haight, though, as he stretched out, reaching for the first down. And less than a half minute to go in the first quarter, with Iowa leading 14-0. Purdue now, with the aid of that 15-yard personal foul call against the Hawkeyes. First down at the Iowa 30. Back to Miles. Boy, there's just no running room there. It looks to me like that the down linemen and the linebackers know exactly the play every time Purdue tries to run the football. So the first period is done. And after 1 here in Iowa City, the Hawkeyes, the home team, leads it 14-0. We go now into the second quarter of play. Purdue, second down, 9. Ball is at the 29 of Iowa. And the Boilers trying to generate some scoring here. Pressure from the backside. The pass is away. The pass is caught. Well delivered by Sean McCarthy and hauled in by Calvin Williams, his second catch.
Williams was in motion. He's going to run across the formation, go down and out, and then back up. It's a poor throw, but Williams makes a nice play on it.
Brad Quass, number 35, linebacker, had slipped through, and he was the pounding hooves that maybe forced McCarthy to go in a hurry. There was nobody between the goal line and Williams when he made the catch, but he couldn't keep his balance.
Would have been a touchdown.
Yep. Into the end zone. Touchdown. No, it is not. It is Greg Brown who comes away with it for Iowa. McCarthy tried to force it to Williams, and Brown stole it.
It was a poor decision, a poor throw on McCarthy, because there are a lot of defensive backs back there. The top right of your screen went right through his hands. Oh, he actually had the ball in his hands.
Oh, he had it, yeah.
Yeah, when I saw it the first time, it was there were 4 defensive backs right there, but it went right through Williams' hands. It should have been a touchdown.
I thought McCarthy, sure, he gambled just a bit, and he forced it just a bit, but he put it right in the man's hands, and then Greg Brown alertly caught it as he withdrew his hands before it hit the turf, and the Hawkeyes dodge the bullet and come up first down at their own 20. And Chuck Hartlieb goes for the first time today to Travis Watkins, the speedy sophomore from Claremont, California, and it's off his hands, incomplete. No question but what Purdue had its touchdown if Williams catches the ball.
Oh, it was an excellent throw. It was right there, and it was intercepted, and no fault of McCarthy's. If we look at the first quarter stats, the amazing thing, Iowa 88 yards rushing, 88 yards passing. That kind of balance you'd love to have every game.
Well, Richard Bass sort of tiptoes up to the line of scrimmage that time. There was no hole, and Richard was so close by the time he got the ball, he had committed himself for a short gain. It'll be third down coming up. Here's Mike.
Well, Keith, one of the great things about homecoming weekend is the alumni bands return to campus. In Iowa's case, they brought nearly 200 members, including a member from the class of 1929, Frank Clark. Frank, you can still play a mean trombone, can't you?
Well, I play with it, you might say.
Yeah. Hold on a second. We're going to watch a play here, and hopefully we'll come back down a second. I'm with the band from 1958 through 1972.
Hartlieb is just clobbered as the Boilers loaded up with 9 men on the line, and Mark Foster got to him, and here's Mike again.
The band director from 1958 to 1972, Keith, was Tom Davis. And Tom, this is really a truly great event. I've never seen the camaraderie between all the band members like this.
It's just super to be back. It's nice to do it only one time a year.
You know what's amazing is they still play pretty good, so cue them, Maestro.
Here we go, gang.
Into punt, Blunt bounces one downfield, bounces out of bounds at about the 44-yard line of Purdue. So Ross Blunt on his second punt of the day, not particularly good.
Purdue was able to stop them the last series. Look what they're doing. They're putting 11 men up on the line of scrimmage, playing man-to-man coverage and pressuring. They're changing their style of defense, and this is good for Purdue because obviously what they did on their first 2 drives didn't work.
Purdue with its best starting field position of the ball game, trailing 14-0, just short of their own 45-yard line. McCarthy's confidence seems to be growing. His pass is off the hands of the intended receiver, Calvin Williams. So it's a confidence builder for Williams. He had a ball in the end zone and didn't catch it. They go right back to him the next snap.
McCarthy is throwing the ball better all the time, as this time he throws it over Burt. And almost had a completion. Coach Akers was saying earlier in the week that the more that Sean McCarthy practiced this week, the better he performed and the better his confidence got.
Second down and 10. We go to Miles. He's got a yard. So far, we've seen no misdirection. in the Purdue running game, and I'll guarantee you they're not going to blow Iowa off the ball with a power game.
It's been all power, and they're trying to get some movement up front. The style of Iowa's defense is a slanting defense. They'll slant Haight, their nose tackle, Dave Haight, one side or the other, and get some penetration. And you're right, Keith, power won't work. You got to have a little misdirection.
7 carries, 9 yards to amplify the point. 3rd and 9. Well, he really didn't have anybody else to choose. He chose Williams, who apparently is the leaper of the receiving corps. But the other receivers, as you looked across the field, had all curled back and all had company.
Take a look at the pass protection as Haight, 64, had 3 sacks last week, is being double teamed. Gets there late, but the ball is thrown. Purdue doing a pretty nice job of protecting McCarthy, but you've got to have some run balance to support the quarterback. McCarthy, who's back in punt formation now, just needs some kind of help from the running game.
He's kicking into the win in the first quarter with the win. He had punts of 43 and 55. Quinn knocks it down, and coming up in a hurry, one of the short men to accept it for Iowa, and the Hawkeyes will have it first down at their own 29-yard line. That was Kerry Burt, one of the defensive backs, putting the ball down.
Iowa has won 7 straight homecoming games.
Iowa may have won 7 straight homecoming games, but somewhere along the way in the history of it, Purdue's won a lot, because the Boilermakers, this is their 14th time as the homecoming guest, and they've won 9 of the previous 13. This is Big Dave Hudson, rolling along all the way to the 49. Let's pause 5 seconds now, so our stations can identify themselves.
We're KCAU, KCAN, Sioux City, Albion.
Dave Hudson, Waxahachie, Texas, his hometown. He's carried 6 times in the ball game so far for 57 yards. Kevin Harmon, in case you wonder where he might be, dinged up from last week's game and lost to Michigan.
And you know they'd like to get through this game without having to use him.
Hudson, the workhorse, and he'll have 6 yards on that carry. Mark Foster, the free safety again. Mark is a junior out of Philadelphia, making the tackle for Purdue.
Harmon banged up with an ankle, and as you mentioned earlier, Rick Bayless also is out with a knee injury, another one of their running backs. In fact, Bayless was their most valuable player last year when Harmon was injured earlier in the season. Now they're both injured, and the freshman, Stewart, is carrying the load.
From the 46, make it about 2nd down and 5. Stewart is back in the lineup. Hartlieb to throw it. Chuck pumped and loaded up, but goes underneath with it. Complete to the tight end, Marv Cook. And Cook will have a first down for the Hawkeyes. He loaded up like he was going to go deep with it, then dropped it off.
Well, he wanted to go deep. He read deep, and that's the way you should read. A quarterback should read deep to short. You always look for the deep pass first, and then he came off to the short receiver.
Ball is marked inside the 35, so it'll be first down at the 34 of Purdue with Hudson, the lone back. Our folks running around. Are you sure you're organized, guys? Now they go and give it to Hudson. There's nothing timid about him. He just puts his hat on you and goes at you with his strong legs. And next week, Michigan State at Ohio State. That's in Columbus. UCLA at Arizona State in Tempe. 2 big ball games in their respective conferences. UCLA rolling along out in the Pac-10. Arizona State stung in Washington. Arizona State with injury problems. Michigan State going to Columbus against an Ohio State team that has not yet proven that they can really move the ball with consistency. 2nd down, 6 for Iowa. Hudson bouncing outside, now comes on back inside. Fumbles the football, and Purdue's got it. Gerald Williams is on it. Number 47 covered the loose ball.
Purdue has had 16 fumble recoveries in the first 6 games, and this is one of the things that we said the defense has got to do for the offense is set something up. That time right there, the ball knocked out by number 70, Keevers. And a big break for the Boilermakers. Stops the drive and turns it over.
And first down at their own 31, trailing 14-0 to Iowa. 10:20 to go in the first half. McCarthy to the sidelines to Hardy. A pickup. No, not Hardy. Cheney. Barry Cheney hit by Kerry Burt. Very short gain on the play of about 3 yards.
How do you think McCarthy feels getting his first opportunity to start in the Big Ten game and having to go up against the #1 defense in the Big Ten and the second-ranked pass defense in the entire nation? That's Iowa playing very well against the pass with some young defensive secondary people.
Second down and 7. Miles poking around in there, trying to find a little room. Finds about 2 yards worth. Let's join Mike Adamle.
Keith, for a guy who's only thrown about 18 passes in his young collegiate career, Sean McCarthy actually looks pretty good. He's overcome some early first quarter jitters and seems to have poise and control out there. And I want Bob Greasy to answer this. He reminds me a little bit, Bob, of Mark Herman as a young Purdue quarterback. Long and gangly. And when I look at number 5 out there, I see a lot of Mark Herman in him. Do you agree?
So far, I agree with the size part of it. I haven't seen him do a lot of things to completions and touchdowns, but I see the resemblance, long and gangly and thin.
Lucky to get that one back. He missed his target. He was throwing for Williams, and he overthrew him. Merton Hanks was the only man in the neighborhood. My favorite Mark Herman story, we used to do cross-country promotional tours with outstanding players. And Mark Herman, who grew up, I believe, in Carmel, Indiana. We were standing at Fifth Avenue and Central Park South, going out to dinner with this group, and Mark Herman standing on the steps of the hotel, and his eyes were wide open. And I heard him say, as he leaned over, he said, "Wow, back home we only got 1 taxi. They must have 1,000 here," because all the cabs were lined up in front of the hotel. Nice fella. Pretty good football player,
yes,
too.
It is.
All right, it's a good kick there. He's into the wind with it, and he gets good rotation on it. And the Iowa receiver made a mistake. Peter Marciano just gambled on that one, and then Peter's lucky that he's going to be able to walk to the sidelines because there were some Purdue people that could really have unloaded on him. Good kick, 42 yards into the wind. Let me correct myself early on here. It's Carmel, California, and Carmel, Indiana, right? All right, first down, and Kevin Harmon is in the backfield for the first time today. Playing a little dinged up. He wanted to play, obviously, because he is surely a gamer. Kevin, a 200-pound senior out of Laurelton, New York, and not much room for him on that carry as he wiggles around and picks up a yard and a half. Starting point in the book will be 24-yard line. Ball is spotted now at the 25. Harmon had the big day in the opening game, kickoff classic against Tennessee, and he leaves now after the 1 play. Purdue jumping around, and pointing now at one of the Iowa linemen as Chuck Hartlieb was calling a check, and there appeared to be some movement along the front, probably Dave Alexander.
We have a dead ball, false start against the offense, second down.
Big Dave playing left tackle today for Iowa. Normally would be, what, the right guard, I guess.
Right guard, and because of injuries to Greg Divis, the left guard, Bob Schmidt, the left tackle, moved to left guard, and the right guard moved to left tackle, and Poynton moved into right guard, and I think that's confusing. It's also confusing to the offensive linemen on some of their assignments.
On second down, Hartlieb pumps it and goes big for Early, who is wide open, and it's first down Iowa at the 45, and he lost Dishman that time.
But Dishman is following Early around and trying to cover him. And as a quarterback, you got to love it. Look to the right side of your screen. The second man in from the right, he's going to make a move to the inside and then break out. And I was saying, as a quarterback and as a coach, as Hayden Fry being an ex-quarterback and calling the plays, you love to have this style of defense because you can throw the ball downfield. You're not throwing in the zones, you're throwing against man-to-man coverage, and Iowa is just tearing them up.
8 minutes to go, first half. Iowa leading 14-0, and Richard Bass bouncing around and can't quite get back to the line of scrimmage. The first 2 possessions, Iowa took the ball and put it in the end zone. But since that time, they've had a turnover. There's been some much improved defensive play by the Boilers.
Well, they've punted twice since the 2 touchdowns and had that 1 turnover. Purdue has had 4 punts and 1 interception and only had 1 drive of any substance. That was 10 yards. But got no points out of it.
Second down, 10. Hartlieb, Watkins, got him, and touchdown.
No help for the freshman Jackson as Watkins just catches it man-to-man 35, 40 yards downfield and goes in for the touchdown. They're up here now. Watch as he goes downfield. There'll be nobody in the middle of the field to help out. It's a blitz on the play. If you stop it right here for a second, you'll see there's a man here and a man here. There's nobody in the middle to help out. This is the type of play that you love to throw against if you're a quarterback. Unfortunately, most of the time, it's zones back there, and you have to throw it between people.
It's a 55-yard pass-run play. Hartlieb to Watkins, and Iowa leads 21-0.
This is Jim Hill in New York, and Kentucky is giving Georgia all it can handle after a 1-yard touchdown run by Mark Higgs. Quarterback Glenn Ford goes back to throw. The ball goes into the end zone. It's tipped, and remarkably, D. Smith makes the reception, a 40-yard touchdown pass, and Kentucky leads Georgia right now 14-0. Back to Keith Jackson.
Don't ever sell Jerry Claiborne short, because he is a good football coach. Taking a long time to get the wheels back on the wagon at Kentucky, but
it's like Bill Mallory at Indiana doing a nice job moving to that program, and Schembechler was paying him some compliments as we take a look at this drive this past week as Michigan was going down to play Indiana, and said that he knew that Mallory would do a very nice job very quickly down in Indiana, and he has.
All right, Iowa kicking off to Purdue, leading 21-0. Anthony Hardy is back there, and this time it goes to Jarrett Scales, a freshman out of Houston, Texas. And Scales, showing good leg drive, comes on back, and here we got a flag. See what Vince Dooley happened to Vince this past week? He had heartburn and went to see apparently the team doctor. Grabbed him right by the coattail and took him straight to Atlanta, the Emory Hospital. Face mask call, and it goes against Iowa. And so he had some minor surgery, and he went back Thursday, and he's coaching the team today on the sideline. Just avoided a heart attack, he said.
The 5-yarder against the defense.
There's your Prudential halftime report, as Al and Jim will have scores and highlights from around the country, and Mike Adamle will have a look back at Iowa football history. And Niall Kinnick, the man for whom this stadium is named. All right, put the football at the 34-yard line for Purdue, and it's first down. Inadvertent face mask, of course, only 5. Sean McCarthy. Got his man Hardy, and Hardy hits the chalk at the 49. A little late getting it there, but he got it there with some zip.
As we see number 11, Hardy, going down and hooking in front of the Purdue bench. And Fred Akers making a nice move, and a nice quick move to get around. What Fred said yesterday, he says he's quicker than a hiccup. They need him to be quick.
Bowler's first down. They're on 49. Miles tries again, and again the running game is just simply not there.
You know, sometimes if your running game, Keith, is not working, the power game or the straight game, go ahead and throw the ball, but get your runs from draws and those types of things. And screens are little short passes which turn into runs.
Pitt leading Navy. Not by all that much. Duke gave Clemson a hard time last week, and they're giving Maryland a hard time today.
They sure are.
Steve Sloan used to be there, followed by another former quarterback, Steve Spurrier. And Steve going from Duke to Alabama. Second down and 10. Purdue calls the timeout. They have 1 remaining. Pretty old building on the campus now. And this ABC Sports exclusive coming from Iowa City, brought to you by the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company. No matter how hard you go, Goodyear takes you home. And by UPS for overnight delivery from coast to coast. UPS runs the tightest ship in the shipping business. Second down and 10 now for Purdue. Ball at their 49. McCarthy gets it away under pressure. Oh, what a great catch by Hardy, senior from Laurel, Mississippi.
Hardy's going to make a nice move to get around the corner, trying to jam him, gets in the open area, a one-handed catch. Hardy came over from Wichita State, who dropped football. Nice throw under pressure by McCarthy. Hardy is only 5'8" and 155 pounds, but he runs a 4.4, and that's why we're saying we need to get the ball to him, because good things are probably going to happen.
First down at the Iowa 36 now for Purdue, as McCarthy gets it off again under pressure. It'll be an incomplete pass, and Joe Schuster was the man that put the hit on him. Schuster, 6'5", 260. McCarthy, 6'7", but only 215. He's lanky. He falls down in sections.
Schuster is 72, coming right up the middle. And McCarthy, to his credit, does not even see the rush, which a quarterback shouldn't. You shouldn't be looking at those black jerseys coming in there. You got to look past them or over them. In the case of McCarthy, he can look over them. I had to look around him.
Second and 10. Well, they get a little something out of the run this time, as Darren Miles, the junior from New Orleans, is just inside the 25 and is going to have a first down for the Boilermakers before Mark Stoops got him.
And this is a checkoff. You heard him say blue 31, 31. That's the 3-back, the fullback, through the 1 hole. And he took some time at the line of scrimmage. And to his credit, not having played quarterback too much this year, because he's the 3rd-string quarterback, doesn't get many snaps in practice, was alert. Made a nice check off there. That's their best running play of the day.
Yeah, doubled their total. 11 yards. First down. Incomplete. I started to say intercepted, but Dwight Sistrunk didn't hold it.
There's a little miscommunication between the quarterback, McCarthy, and the receiver. Throwing the ball to the outside man. Now, he's not throwing it there to 83, who is Turner. He was throwing it to the outside man, and they had a little miscommunication. The problem is, when you see a certain style of coverage, the receivers have the opportunity to run different routes. And that time they weren't on the same page. As you see, Kreitz, the center, going off with looks like a leg injury. Maybe it's his shoulder.
Yeah, I think they hold to that left arm.
Yeah.
The man replacing him figures to be James McCulley, a junior out of Coral Gables.
The injuries mount for Purdue. Not only are you with your third quarterback, you're with your backup center, your backup fullback, you have your backup tight end in there, and you're the number 10 offense in the Big Ten coming in, and you're playing against the number 1 defense.
Bottom line, it's a problem. It's 21-0 Iowa. Well, they set it up out there for Hardy, trying to get him a little screen help. And he's going to walk away from that hit. Remember, he's got a very sore shoulder, but he takes the lick and walks away from it. And actually gained about 3 yards on the play. When you're out there unprotected like that, and those inside backers and sometimes the free safety can really load up on you.
Well, and both safeties in this ball game, Sistrunk for Iowa and Foster for Purdue, are vicious hitters and can really lay it to you.
3rd and about 7. Long 7. He's got a man, got a first down, and it's almost a touchdown as Calvin Williams, probably a little angered over the drop in the end zone early, comes back with a tough play there, and he gives Purdue a 1st and goal.
Well, here's the receiver, Williams. It's going to be man-to-man coverage because everybody is blitzing. One of the few times he's going to blitz, he's just going to go down and run a hook pattern in the middle of the field. Everybody's blitzing man-to-man coverage, single coverage in the secondary, and Williams breaks the tackle. A little bit different philosophy for Iowa. They don't blitz that much.
1st and goal from the 2 now for Purdue. Miles to the 1. Well, the Purdue running game has produced very little, the longest run being 11 yards. Came a moment ago from Miles. Now they've got to try to punch it in.
Excuse me, Keith. I was just going to say they were last in the Big Ten in rushing last year, and when Akers came from Texas, they were concerned. A lot of the Purdue people were concerned that, geez, we're going back to the wishbone. That's not the case at all.
The dive, the fumble. They're going to get him the touchdown. They call the touchdown. He had broken the plane of the goal line before the ball was knocked loose. Dangerous thing Miles did there. He was trying to reach across the goal line with the ball, and they slapped it away, but he got the TD call.
The rule is as soon as the ball breaks the plane of the goal line, and we can't tell from that angle, but as soon as it's across the goal line, it's a touchdown. We'll take another look. But this is a dangerous thing to do. Yeah, it looked like it was over from here. It was in there. But you never want to stick that ball out there because one of those defensive men are liable to knock it away before you cross.
Jonathan Briggs in for the extra point. And it's good. Well, the crowd hooting a little bit about the call as the score goes to 21-7. But both officials were decisive in making the call. Here's Purdue. Tomorrow, an international first here on ABC Sports as the Soviet national team will be playing their first professional team in this country, the Milwaukee Bucks. It'll come from the Mecca in Milwaukee. McDonald's Basketball Open tips off at 3:30 Eastern Time. I watched Milwaukee play the Tracer Milan team from Italy last night. Bob McAdoo, Ricky Brown playing for the Tracer team. Bucks came out running, got a big lead, but it'll be interesting to see the Bucks going against the Soviet team. And Sabonis, I guess, is not with the Soviet team.
It's a basketball season already?
Yep, we're near.
We still got the World Series. We're in the middle of the football season, and we got baseball on one side and basketball on the other.
Very poor kick here. It goes very high in the air. And Mike Flagg makes a fair catch. Yes, you can fair catch a kickoff, and he wanted it because it was going to come down at the 28. Now let's check in with our fellas in New York.
left to go in the first quarter. Illinois charging against Michigan State in a game that was scoreless until Scott Moore, a junior college quarterback, sent one into James Gordon, and Illinois surprising Michigan State 7-0, still in the closing minutes of the first quarter. Back to you.
Ball is on the 28-yard line. First down for Iowa. Hartlieb loads it up for Early. Well, crowd's hollering about that too. Dishman had contact with him for about 20 yards, just shoulder to shoulder, elbow to elbow, and ran with him. That's a good play by Dishman.
Dishman is covering Early all day, everywhere he goes. And that left arm sticking out, but I don't think that, I wouldn't have called that if I was the official. I mean, pretty good coverage. He ran step for step, stride for stride with him, and again, he had coverage all over the field.
2nd and 10 for the Hawkeyes. They've had 6 possessions. They've had 3 touchdowns. And Purdue this time comes flying in as a penalty flag goes. Chris Keevers gets the sack, but let's see about the flag. That might be a face mask.
By number 47, Joe Williams.
Yep. Well, somebody got the face mask inadvertent.
Well, it's an all-out blitz. Dubose, 46, goes to the inside. Keevers, number 70, whoops to the outside. And he must have had him with a face mask just for a second. Wasn't obvious, but the official was right there.
We have a face mask against the defense, 5 yards.
Inadvertent, only 5 yards. Make it 2nd down, 5 now for Iowa. The ball comes out to the 33.
Tells you a little bit about the style of defense that Purdue employs. They just score a touchdown, they come back out, their defense wants to create something, make something happen, and they send 7 people after Hartlieb, but they get the face mask foul.
Chuck rolls it out, buys time, looks for Early, throws. He pulls it in, goes over the bench. And a penalty flag, and Dishman is going to get the call. They're going to flag Dishman for hitting him as he went out of bounds.
And they should. It's a dangerous situation here at the stadium. The sidelines are so close, the stands are very close to the sidelines. Now watch. He makes the, no, that's, well, he
shoved him.
He had his hands on him before he was out, and he didn't shove him until he was out of bounds. So it's a good flag. But you can see right there how close the stadium seats are to the sideline.
If he doesn't shove him, he doesn't get the flag, I don't think.
Right. He had his hands on him before he was out of bounds, but he didn't really shove him until they were out of bounds. There's how close the stands are to the playing field. It's great for the fans. It's a little dangerous for the players.
I think Hayden wants an ejection. He's putting on quite an argument down there with Jim Kimberly.
Isn't he? Well, that play happened right down in front of Hayden, and he just thought it was a little bit too much on the sideline.
Dead ball, personal foul against the defense, first down. Get out for a personal foul.
With the penalty, the ball will go now to the Purdue 42-yard line, and it'll be a first down for Iowa.
Take one more look at it. He's got his hands on him right there, but he doesn't really shove him until he gets out of bounds. I don't think that was an intentional or
no. So heat of battle.
He had 1 foot up in the stadium seats.
Why didn't his teammates catch him?
Exactly.
Hartlieb, a little delay, gives it to Harmon, and Harmon is knocked down for a loss back at the 49-yard line by Chris Keevers. And big old Chris keeps surfacing in that defensive front now for Purdue.
And you're not going to see many running plays working against this style of defense now that Purdue is playing. The last 4 times they have sent 7 players blitzing into the seams, and they got a lot of games and loops and switches going up front, and it's very tough to run against that style of defense.
21-7, Iowa leads with 2 minutes and 45 seconds to go in the first half. In a cool gray day, the sun trying now to burn its way through the clouds. Rain last night, no rain today, but it's nippy. Hartlieb, second down, gets it away to the sidelines, intended for Watkins, and it is incomplete. And again, Hartlieb was getting some pressure from the Purdue defenders. They've got to go just inside the 32 for their first down. So they're looking at 3rd down and 17.
It's been a tough year for Hayden Fry. The first 7 games, they're 4-3, but 5 of those 7 games were on the road. They played 12 games this year because they played in the Kickoff Classic back in August.
That makes a long season, Bob.
It certainly does. And it's been a long season for them, and they're coming up with some injuries in the middle part of it.
3rd and long. Hartlieb back, looks at Watkins, goes for the big guy down the middle. That's a penalty flag on Craig Clark, the tight end. Mark Foster not playing the ball, playing the man, and hit him too soon. So that 15-yard penalty will, leave him 2 yards short? Or, no, it carries an automatic, doesn't it?
To the right of your screen, there's Clark. The ball is underthrown, and that's where the interference came, because Clark ran into him, or Foster ran into Clark when he caught up with him when he had to slow down for the ball.
It'll be a first down at the 34. Purdue had him pretty well pinned in, but then a mistake by Foster. 2 big penalties in this possession. Number 41 hooks up with Dave Hudson and rides him down. That's Donzel Leggett, a redshirt freshman out of Key West, Florida, 6'5" and 220. And there's a loss of a couple of yards on the play. The last 4 Iowa efforts at running the ball has been 0, -1, -7, and -1.
Well, what Purdue is forcing him to do is throw the football. They're stacking the line, they're blitzing, and they're giving 1-on-1 in the secondary, but they're big plays, and they're not high percentage plays, but the run is not there.
Hartlieb again has pressure. Wings it downfield for Early, and it is over his head, incomplete. And once again, Chris Dishman was the defender. They're really picking on him, aren't they? At 9 Eastern time, this coming Monday night, the Los Angeles Rams and the Cleveland Browns from Cleveland. It'll probably be a little nippy there, too. It all starts at 9 Eastern time. The Rams having a little trouble getting untracked this year. The big boys are back this weekend.
They're back, and it's going to be interesting to see how the teams play. There's been a lot of talk about who's benefited from the strike and who's stuck together.
3rd down and about 12, and Chuck Hartlieb looks over the defense, and he's looking at 9 white shirts and says, I don't think I've got the right folks in the right play. I'm going to go visit with the coach and see what he has to say. Illinois, as we told you, leading Michigan State. The second quarter, 7-0.
What an upset that would be.
Oh, boy. Well, the Illinois defense is not a bad defense.
They got a good defense. Syracuse still undefeated.
The big story right now, though, has to do with Kentucky leading Georgia, I guess. Southeastern Conference. Auburn, who's Auburn playing today? Mississippi State, I think it is. And their quarterback and another player suspended. So they might be available.
You know, I can't remember being so far into the season, 7 games, and in some cases not that many, but most of the teams have played 7 games, and having so many undefeated teams still around. You look up and down the rankings, and you'll see, well, the top 2, Nebraska and Oklahoma, but also Clemson and Syracuse and the University of Miami, undefeated.
Well, Syracuse schedule breaks pretty good for them now. And of course, they got the Big Bear last week.
I don't think they have any top 20 teams remaining on their schedule. Clemson doesn't. They've already played Georgia, who was the only top 20 at the time.
LSU and Auburn each have a tie.
Yeah, they're both undefeated.
All right, here we go on 3rd down and 12 with the Hawkeyes. The last 2 times they've had him 3rd and long. Purdue's made mistakes. Keevers is all over the quarterback, but the pass is completed to the tight end, Marv Cook. And Marv is wrestled down by Derek Kelson, and he is short of the 1st down. So it'll be 4th and short.
Here's Cook right here, and he's going to be covered by this man. He's going to come across the field. And again, if you look to the right side of your screen, there's no help in the middle of the field. No help down here. These men are by themselves, man to man. And that is tough going if you're a defensive back.
4th and 2, and they'll go. Kelson only is 6 feet, 180, and the guy that caught it, 6'4", 230. Little short pass is zipped intended for Marv Cook, and it is incomplete. Little play action trying to get it to the tight end, and it wasn't a very good pass.
Well, they had 3 tight ends in there. They had them all crossing. Watch your screen now. There goes one. Here comes another one. They're finding their way through there. The object is to scrape off a defensive back and make it give him trouble getting through there. But that time, the tight ends crossing had the problem getting across.
Purdue's ball at their own 26 now as the 4th and short failed for the Hawkeyes, and 55 seconds to go in the 1st half. This is Oglesby. And nothing doing for Robert. 5'8", 160, as we told you some time back. If something happened to McCarthy, it might be Oglesby who got the call at quarterback. Schuster and Beard would not let the speedster get around the corner, and he loses on the play 4 yards. Purdue has 1 timeout remaining. Iowa leading 21-7 with 2. They don't figure to stop the clock. 16 seconds. McCarthy trying to set up a screen, finally gets it out to Miles, but by that time the blocking had broken down. In fact, the blocking was never in posture to do anything about it. And Brad Quast was right there to spoil it. And Iowa now will call the timeout. 5 seconds. 3rd down and 19 or so. And they want McCarthy to put it up one more time, I guess, and have a chance of picking it off. The New York City Marathon. Coming up here on ABC on Sunday, November 1st. Next Sunday. It is the largest marathon field, I guess, anywhere in the world. They have over 20,000 people pounding the pavement, running through the 5 boroughs of Manhattan. It'll begin at 10:30 Eastern and Pacific next Sunday here on ABC.
Interesting comparison here between McCarthy and Hartlieb. Hartlieb, we said early in the game, ranked 2nd in the Big Ten. McCarthy getting his first Big Ten start. And Hartlieb having the advantage of having some kind of a running game. It's tough just to throw the football if you don't have a running game. And McCarthy, obviously, with no running game.
With any luck, though, if Williams holds the ball, it's a 21-14 ball.
Williams was open in the end zone and dropped one for Purdue, and if he would have held that, it would have been a 7-point halftime game.
Third and long. 5 seconds to go in the half.
This is called hold it until the clock runs out.
Why did they call the timeout?
Iowa called the timeout, didn't they?
Oh, I guess right.
Yeah, Iowa called the timeout.
Yeah. Well, that's the safe way to do it. Go to the clubhouse as the quarterback goes out of bounds. 21-7. The tight end comes drifting back. Mike Flagg almost runs over the intended return man. Now he laterals it off. And down the sidelines, hitting the chalk at the 34-yard line is Peter Marciano. So Peter was robbed by Flagg on the kickoff, but eventually wound up with the ball and almost scored.
Well, Flagg takes it away from him, which he shouldn't have done, because anytime you have to move back to catch it, you ought to let one of the smaller guys come forward and catch it. Now, this forward momentum is not stopped, so the whistle has not blown. It's a legal lateral, a smart play by both players, and a big kickoff return for Iowa starting the second half.
Let's go back to that. Hold that play for a second. I want to go back to where Flagg caught it. I want to see that again. Hold on to that play, will you? It is at the 34-yard line for Iowa. And Fred Akers is talking about what I think he should be talking about. And I think Flagg and Dave Burnson is arguing, too, that he signaled fair catch.
Well, he caught one in the first half and signaled fair catch, did Flagg, and that's what Fred Akers is upset about.
Go back to the top of that play and look at it on the kickoff and see if he didn't. Here's the kickoff now.
To the left of your screen now. There's Flagg just coming in, number 86.
Isn't that fair catch?
No, it is not fair catch. He has to get his hand above his head. Now, he was waving his right hand as he moved back to maybe balance himself, but a legitimate fair catch signal is above your head from side to side, and he didn't do that. Watch his right hand.
Is he waving off Marciano? Huh?
I think he may be waving him off.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure that's what Fred was hollering about, that he thought from his perspective that it was a fair catch call. All right, Hawkeyes now cooking. They're on the Purdue 34-yard line, and Hartlieb's trying to cash it early.
Out and up. Can't
get away. And having a big ball game defensively for Purdue, Chris Keevers, number 70.
Well, it's the same play that we just showed you the halftime of the highlights of the touchdown by Early. That was the same play. It went down, broke out, and up. This time, the rush by Purdue was there and didn't give him a chance to throw the football, and that is what Purdue relies on. If you play man-to-man coverage in the secondary, you've got to have pressure on the quarterback.
That's a 12-yard loss. Back outside the 46. Oh, it's second down and 22. Go blitz again, and they are coming, but they dump it off and get burned as Craig Clark, the tight end, is on his way to a touchdown.
There's a tight end right here. Now this man is a safety. He is going to blitz. 46 DuBose is a linebacker. He's going to blitz. And the tight end is going to catch the ball just off the line of scrimmage. Hartlieb sees it coming the entire way. A slow block by the tight end, Clark. He blocked him for a second and then releases. A nice, easy throw and a big play for Iowa.
It goes 46 yards. And the Hawkeyes start the second half with another touchdown and another Rob Houtland conversion to make it 28-7.
Big play by Hartlieb right here. Smart young man, sees it all the way. And also a nice play by Clark, not to panic. He blocked for a second and then got out. There's Clark, 49, in the huddle for the kickoff. There was some question as to whether or not he would even be playing this year. He was hospitalized last year with a blood disorder following the Ohio State game. He was in the hospital 17 days, and he was on a kidney dialysis machine for 3 days before his kidneys regained function. Doctors cleared him to play this year, and he is one of 3 fine tight ends that Iowa employs and is doing a very good job today.
Hawkeyes 8 possessions of the ball game, 4 touchdowns. That isn't too bad. Sun is out bright now as burned off the gray clouds and the haze. It was really foggy this morning driving down here. Scales and Hardy are deep for Purdue as Houtland kicks it off into the wind. Low line drive. And it's fielded on the short hop by Jarrett Scales. And he's back to the 32, and here's Mike.
Well, Keith Jackson, this man, he's a living legend athletically here in the state of Iowa. He, of course, the wrestling coach for the Iowa Hawkeyes and former Olympic gold medal winner Dan Gable. Dan, you're taking some special time out just to watch the football game. You got to go back and practice with the troops.
I come to these football games because there's a lot of people around here. It gets me fired up because I realize my time's coming up soon in the wintertime, and I got to coach a great team then, so I have to get back to work shortly.
Last year, you had a chance to set a wonderful NCAA record going after your 10th consecutive NCAA title. You had won 9 straight. It didn't happen. Iowa State beat you guys out for the national title. Has that served as a lot of incentive for this coming year, Dan?
I'll tell you, I started losing a little bit rapport with my athletes. When I spoke to them, they didn't quite hear as much. Again, now they listen, and they're actually responding very well, so I'm pretty excited about it.
And when Dan Gable speaks, people listen, Keith. I'll tell you that.
I know. I did some his matches when he was in college. That tells you something about how long I've been around. Look at this. North Carolina State jumping all over Clemson, and USC out to the lead over the Irish in their ball game. Southern California played a good ball game last week. Sean McCarthy on 2nd down and 10. Passes completed to Cheney, and it's a short gain. So it'll bring up 3rd down and about 4 for Purdue as Bruce Kreitz, injured in the first half, if you remember, had to leave the game. Bruce is back in the game as we focus in on number 64.
David Haight, 64, gets around the center. Then the guard, the tackle, tries to get after him. Makes a little bit of a late hit on McCarthy, but doesn't do too much to hurt him. But the referee was right there. Haight leads the team in tackles, and how often do you see a nose tackle leading a defensive team in tackles?
McCarthy gets his pass off, and the pass is drilled and caught up around the 46-yard line by Kelly Turner from Piscataway, New Jersey. And that'll give Purdue a 1st down. That's not a bad little game they've got going with that short stuff underneath, you know.
Well, it's the safest thing, too, as far as McCarthy, the quarterback, is concerned. Again, throwing into that secondary that is ranked 2nd in the country. But I'm sure anything that Fred Akers told him at halftime, Keith, is out the window because they didn't expect Iowa to come out and score in 2 plays.
That's right. From the 45, call it 1st down for the Boilers. They're going to try to run again, and Miles pops out of there. So it's a good hard run by Darren Miles, and for the 2nd time today, he turns in an 11-yard effort, and it'll be 1st down Purdue at the Iowa 44. Number 72, Big Joe Schuster, has to come off, dragging a leg for a moment. Myron Kepi, 77, goes in, replacing him. About the same size. Anthony Hardy, the swift one, is wide to the bottom of the picture. Williams in motion. Miles runs it a couple of yards on the carry, runs into Dave Haight.
And to look at that defensive line, Haight right in the middle of your picture is very quick for a man that big. As you see there, Kreitz, number 63, misses him. And Haight gets a piece of the block. Haight had a big week last week against he played Michigan. He had 3 sacks. He did an outstanding job in the center of that defensive line.
2nd down and 8. That's out of bounds, incomplete. Hardy the man, but he was clearly out of bounds when the ball got there. So it'll be 3rd down and 8. Jim Johnson, sophomore out of Forest City, is in there now, replacing Kepi at defensive tackle for the Hawkeyes. Trips at the bottom of the picture for Purdue. 3 wide people. They got Cheney, get it to him, and he tries to reach for the mark, and he won't get quite there. He's going to be a half a yard short of his first down. At this point, trailing 28-7. Got to figure that Purdue goes for it.
And this is a 4-down area anyway. I mean, if you don't make it, at least you got them backed up on the 35-yard line. It's not like you're on your own 35 where you'd punt at this situation.
McCarthy throws it. They get it. Cheney. And Cheney is taken out of bounds at the 22-yard line by Kerry Burt. Well, that'll get a lump in your throat if you're a Boilermaker follower on that kind of a play.
Well, it's a gutsy call. Bob Stanley, the offensive coordinator for the Boilermakers. And it was wide open, and obviously Iowa was socked in for the run. And a big first down for Purdue to keep the drive alive.
McCarthy's pass for Cheney into double coverage. If he had taken 2 more steps on his drop, taken a little more time, he had Hardy all by himself heading for the corner. Look at that score.
It's unbelievable, isn't it? North Carolina State, who lost their first 2 or 3 games, changed quarterbacks, and now they're going great guns. SC at Notre Dame.
Michigan State has pulled even now with Illinois. Second down 10 from the 22 of Iowa for Purdue. McCarthy puts it up. Touchdown, Hardy. Hardy came back and said, hey, try me one more time, and he did.
They actually have double coverage on him. Let's take another look from the end zone. You see the protection. Both Schuster and Haight are boxed up inside, and the ball is just laid up and over Sistrunk. And it was Sistrunk's fault. He had the coverage, and it was double coverage, and he just let him run past him.
Briggs now trying to make it a 14-point difference. And he does. And right now, that touchdown play involving Hartlieb and Craig Clark looks pretty big.
Big quarterback staying in there nicely.
10:21 to go, third quarter.
This is Al Troutwig in New York. The first place team in the Atlantic Coast Conference and one of 5 Division 1A teams with perfect records before today is having Danny Ford's perhaps worst day in his 100 games of coaching at Clemson. Right now, NC State leading 30-0 late in the second quarter as one of the top 10 teams seems to be headed for defeat today. NC State, by the way, was the last team to beat Clemson after their long undefeated streak. Back to Keith.
Wolfpack, snarling and howling. All right, Purdue kicks it off. Briggs knocks it down to Stewart. Stewart from the 4-yard line. Keeps on coming back up the field all the way to the 33.
Go back and take another look at that touchdown. Here's Hardy right out here. He's just going to go straight down the field. Now the corner here will try to jam him. And here is Sistrunk. He should have been back there to make the play. And gets back there, but just doesn't react to the ball. The jam with the line of scrimmage. Hardy with his quickness gets by it. Now Sistrunk's not expecting him to continue down the field. He says, there's the end zone back there. I'll play the back line. He can't use his speed beyond that, but yet he was burned because of McCarthy laying the ball right over and into the back of the end zone.
Iowa down from their 34, first down. This is Hudson. Oh, missed a tackle in the open field. A little stiff arm and got around the corner. And he gets the ball for 5 yards up to about the 30 now. They're marking back at the 38. So that'll give him about 3, second down and 7. Hartlieb gives the ball away. Tony Stewart bolting over the right side, and Purdue stops him short of the first down. At the 42, he'll need the better part of 2 yards.
Third down 2 for the Hawks.
When Akers took over, everybody expected him to bring the running game to Purdue, and a lot of the alumni were concerned about it. He hadn't run the wishbone in 10 years, but they thought of Texas that he was going to bring it back. This year, he's actually throwing the ball more than they're running it, and he's looking for a quarterback.
Stewart trying to get outside, does just enough to get the first down. Up near the 45. Stewart shows some quickness, doesn't he?
He certainly does. One of the things that's unique to Hayden Fry's offenses are the tight ends. They stand up. Now, that's great for releasing on passes, but what about a running play? Can they block from there? Well, the one at the bottom didn't do bad, but Flag, 86, didn't really get the man that he was looking for. I asked Hayden about that, and he says, you know, even on the goal line, when they're on the 1 yard line going in, their tight ends will stand up. And I got to believe that you just cannot get a good block firing off the line of scrimmage standing up as you can down in a 3-point stance.
Hartlieb all day gets it away. Watkins makes the catch. First down, Iowa at the Purdue 32. Steve Jackson couldn't quite handle him.
Steve Jackson defending for Purdue.
Take a look now, as you say, the line, they're going to blitz again. These people in here, as it's man-to-man coverage in the secondary. They got man coverage. It's a key blitz. If their man comes out, they stay with them. And if they don't come out, then they blitz. Had a lot of time to throw. That's a tough job in the secondary.
So the Hawkeyes leading 28-14 with 8 minutes to go in the third quarter. Threatening again from the Purdue 37. Mark it, 37-yard line, not the 32. And look at Hudson roll. A couple of Purdue Boilermakers had a hold of him, but he kept his feet under him, and he's a very strong man at 235 pounds.
Hudson was really overshadowed when is overshadowed when they have their running backs healthy, but early in the season, Fry says that Hudson is a good player. We'll try to get more production, run production out of our fullbacks, and certainly that is the case today.
Hartlieb on second and short, going for Early. Got it, no, didn't hold it. Had it in his hands, and as he fell out of bounds, lost possession.
It's a quarterback's dream to have this type of coverage to throw on. He can run all over the field. I don't know. It may have had possession of that ball before he went out. That's he turns his back. The official is right there, but the official cannot see it. And I got to go. He turns his back. No, the ball does hit the ground. Good call. Those officials are right most of the time. They're right there.
On third and a yard, Hartlieb, the quarterback, keeping, and appears to have his first down.
Remember early in the year, Keith, when we did the let's take a look at the World Series tonight. 6th game, the Cardinals and the Twins.
Les Straker for the Twins and John Tudor, the left-hander, for the Cardinals. St. Louis won all 3 in St. Louis. Minnesota won the first 2 in Minneapolis. Now the Twins are trying to turn it around once they go back home where they are double tough. This is Hudson. Mark Foster getting a hard time from that stiff arm, but stayed with him.
He really did. Take a look. The top left of your screen, number 31, the man coming up the force right there is Foster, the free safety. Now Foster says, I'm not supposed to be up here tackling these big fullbacks, and Foster just shoves him out of my way. He says, get out of my way, man. I want to run.
It's a first down for, no, it is not. It's second down and 1. 2nd and 1. And Hudson to the 15, and that is a first down. Keevers and Strickland had a hold of him. But as I just said, he's a strong fellow. The crowd is 67,700. Game sold out. They do have their faithful here at Iowa.
Well, it's homecoming, and it's only fitting that the sun should break through, and I can't say there's not a cloud in the sky, but there's certainly going to be a lot of sunshine left after this game is over with for all the faithful to enjoy.
Hudson again, they're grinding it out. This time the Boilermakers handle him pretty well. They put him down after a 2-yard gain. Jackson and Strickland, the principal hitters.
Little toss, the offensive line just straight blocking up there. And again, Alexander, 55, and Schmidt, number 60, on that left side doing a nice job.
Hudson has a quiet 92 yards in this game on 15 carries. Bass is in now, replacing him. Oh, Quinn Early left too soon. Whatever happens, it's going to get wiped out. Early left too soon. Quinn Early, 1 step too soon. Pass was incomplete. 5 minutes and 45 seconds to go in the 3rd period. 28-14, Iowa leading.
Well, if Purdue hopes to get back into this game, their defense has got to stop the Hawkeyes offense.
We had an illegal shift against the offense. It's declined. 3rd down.
Right you are, sir.
3rd down.
3rd down, 7 on the 12-yard line.
Third and 8. Hudson back in. That's a good defensive play. Derek Kelson, sophomore from Warren, Ohio, on Mike Flagg, the big tight end. Kelson at 6 feet, 180, going against Flagg at 6'6", 250.
Good protection. The defense jumps in the air and causes a problem for Hartlieb trying to get rid of the ball. And Kelson right there at the right time. Again, single coverage in the secondary. I'll tell you, I'd love to be thrown against this type of coverage. It's when you throw against zones all your life, man is nice.
Rob Houtland for the field goal from 30 yards, and it's good. So he adds to his career total as the score goes to 31-14. Speaking of kickers, (31-14), 17-point lead now for Iowa with 5.5 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. And how do you like this form? How many field goals did you kick at Purdue?
Well, let's see, that was a long time ago. I think I made every one I tried. I made all of them over 50. See, it was difficult. I never wanted to try any field goals because I was a quarterback. I didn't want to stop and try field goals. I wanted touchdowns. Well, where'd you guys get that picture? I want to know.
Judy gave it to us.
I'll get even. I'll get even.
All right. Iowa has things in hand at the moment. 31-14 over Purdue. Jarrett Scales and Anthony Hardy are the deep people for Rob Houtland's kickoff. That's a pretty good lick into the breeze, and it's taken by Hardy, who finally turns upfield from his goal line and gets a hole and comes back to about the 26-yard line. Monday night, the Los Angeles Rams leaving warm California to head to what appears to be a cool Cleveland, Ohio, to take on the Browns. And boy, both those teams need a win, but the Rams need it maybe more so than the Browns right now.
And that's a cold place. If that wind blows off the lake, right there on the lake, and get really chilly. I remember playing there one time. It was snowing. I never thought I'd get out of there alive.
Oh, it can really be breezy. 26-yard line, first down for Purdue. McCarthy hands to Darren Miles, and he is almost clotheslined by Joe Schuster. Big Joe reaching for him. He's 260 pounds, and Miles is 185, and Darren lost it. There's no wrestling match he could win under those circumstances.
Well, Miles is only 5'8", so he's given up a few inches to those guys in the defensive line. And McCarthy on that last drive, the touchdown drive, was 5 of 7 and 54 yards.
Second down, short 8, long 7, however you like it. Sean McCarthy holding up pretty well under the pressure, completes the pass. It's caught by Kelly Turner. And Turner, when he made the reception, appeared to have sufficient yardage for the first down, but in trying to regain his balance, I'm not sure he got enough of a mark to give him the first. So they'll measure it and have a look. Sean McCarthy in that last possession, including the 22-yard touchdown pass as they stretched the chain, got just enough. Yep. He was 5 out of 7 for 54 yards.
Yeah, and a touchdown.
Yep. He too wears the wristband as the signal comes in from the sideline for the play. He checks the list he's carrying on his left arm. And first down from the 36. That's Cheney in motion. And the pass intended for him is intercepted. Picked off by Kerry Burt. Both of them had a piece of the ball, but Burt wrestled it away. And tempers flare for a moment.
Take a look at it here. You're just going to go down and hook to the inside. Burt is right here. They have double coverage inside and out, and Burt will make the play, cut inside of the receiver. In and out. They call this in and out or bracketing. He sees the man hook. He goes for the interception and gets his 6th pickoff of the year. He actually leads all defensive backs now in the country with 6 interceptions. He had 3 last year and returned 1 for a touchdown. He doesn't work out during the week because he's had some problems with his back. He actually fought him for it and then caught it.
And so the Hawkeyes make a break for themselves. First down at the Purdue 43. And Hartlieb again wants to go big with it. He's caught behind the line of scrimmage and thrown down back on the 49-yard line. And he was loading up trying to get the ball to Quinn Early.
Well, he was loading up, Keith. You're right. You know, Purdue is blitzing probably 65-70% of the time now. And if you can block it, you can burn it. But sometimes the defense is going to burn you, and that time Hartlieb got the worst of it, but who knows? The next time he may get them.
He had Early on the post pattern. He's already down to about the 15-yard line. Ball comes back to midfield, second sack for the Boilermakers. Hartlieb guns one to the sidelines. Pass is caught by Mark Mazzeri, junior out of Partridge, Illinois, who started the season as the starter at split end.
Here's Mazzeri down here. Now look, there's no defensive back down here. Here he is right here. He's coming over there, and he's going to get there late. Hartlieb saw it. He just came up and threw the ball out to Mazzeri. Mazzeri saw him coming over, so he says, all right, I'm going to break away from you. That time, a little mix-up in the secondary for the Boilermakers.
Third down and 6. Well, he had a crossing pattern with Watkins going post, Early going outside. And this time, Chris Dishman knocked it loose. Hey, Chris Dishman is will go to bed tonight and dream about having that number 1 running at him, isn't it?
Well, he's been very busy. His problem is he has a true freshman on the other side lined up, and he has drawn the tough assignment of covering Quinn Early wherever he goes today, and they're throwing a lot of passes towards Early.
That's Jim Poynton, the right guard, down on the field, so there is a timeout for Jim with 3.5 minutes to go in the third quarter.
This is Jim Hill back in New York. It's halftime of the homecoming game for Michigan against Illinois. It is tied in the third quarter, 7-7. The third quarter has just started. Lorenzo White, who is the second leading rusher in the country this week, he scored 1 touchdown. He's only carried the ball 17 times. He's only rushed for 40 yards. A tough afternoon for him. 7-7 at halftime. Now let's go back to Keith Jackson.
At 3:29 to go in this third quarter. The football sits at the 39-yard line of Purdue, where it is 4th down and 6. And they're going to punt it. This is Ross Blunt. That's the old pooch kick. And it takes a sideways bounce and will go out of bounds around the 15-yard line. That's a 25-yard punt. The McDonald's basketball open, hard to say. Soviet national team against the Milwaukee Bucks. It'll be the first time the Soviet nationals have played an American professional team, and they get a pretty good one in the Milwaukee Bucks. It'll come live from the Mecca in Milwaukee at 3:30 Eastern time tomorrow. On first down, just outside the 15, it'll go in the books as the 16-yard line, and Sean McCarthy gives it to Darren Miles, and Miles will have about 3 as he gets up to the 19. A 31-14 ball game in Iowa City. 3 minutes now to go in the third quarter. Sean McCarthy with time to throw, delivers it to Hardy, and leg tackle by Dwight Sistrunk. Otherwise, he might still be running. It is, however, a first down for Purdue at the Iowa 47. Hardy now has caught 7 balls today for 108 yards. He was late getting into it, but McCarthy is starting to find him. Calvin Williams has run 4 miles today in motion. And finally, the flag's thrown. And there was somebody moving on the front. I thought, yeah, it was Jim Richmond. Todd Berry points that out. New quarterback, remember, and the offensive lineman sometimes will have a little trouble with it.
Well, a lot of people may wonder why a man goes in motion all the time. Sometimes you see tight ends moving from side to side and the flanker moving from side to side.
Have a dead ball. Building a procedure against the offense. First down.
The reason for that is you try to change the strength of the formation, and you're trying to really mess with the minds of the defensive players, get them confused, get them in something they don't want to be in, or take advantage of them.
First and 15 now. The ball comes back on the Purdue side to the 48. McCarthy's pass too high and picked off. Intercepted by Greg Brown, his second of the day. 3rd total for Iowa. And Brown's pretty good on scooping that thing off the turf.
And he has good vision, Keith, as you see here. Throwing on the run, he's going to overthrow. His man was open. Now Brown sees the ball, has good vision, comes in and makes the diving interception. And as you said, his second diving interception of the day.
The other one came in the end zone. At the 34 now for the Hawkeyes. Kevin Harmon played very little today. And they don't probably want to play him very much, but just spot him here and there. Hope that he works the kinks out and we'll be ready to go next week.
The problem with that play, take a look here. Here's Flag. He's trying to pull behind the line of scrimmage. Both of the linemen trying to pull behind the line of scrimmage, and they get penetration by one of the defensive linemen, and that is a mess. 3 or 4 yards behind the line of scrimmage, you get hit.
That's Keevers again.
Not the way it was designed.
Keevers had a big day. Hartlieb got a problem. Tony Visco was down. The pursuit turned him back toward Tony. And suddenly he looked up and there was his quarry. And he decked him.
Visco is an outstanding player for the Purdue defensive line. To take not bad protection to start with. And then Hartlieb, who is the most mobile of the 3 quarterbacks, is hauled down. Visco is a Canadian, was in the 4th round, drafted in the 4th round by the Canadian Football League this year. Was a youth hockey player when he was growing up, and his mother made him quit. Said he was a little bit too rough.
So it's 3rd and very, very long, and they give it to Hudson. And Hudson will get it back up to about the 28, 9-yard line. And the Hawkeyes are going to have to punt it away. And timeout called by Purdue with only 10 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter.
In the second period,
Well, I don't understand that timeout.
I think it was.
It's probably so they kick into the wind. That was a good call. The wind is still, well, the flags aren't blowing at the top of the stadium, but the prevailing wind is from our left to right. And obviously that's why Fred Akers called timeout.
I would imagine that Iowa would have been probably willing to take the 5-yard delay call in order to get the wind to their back. And Fred didn't want it.
Yeah.
Because Ross Blunt, who's had the kicking chore today for the first time ever in his career, has 3 punts of 32, 34, and 25.
And Akers is aware of that, too. He knows they've had problems with their special teams, and this is one of the areas that they've had it. And maybe he can get a punt return here and get back in this ball game.
Yeah, well, let me change the tune right here, because Mark Adams has now come out to do the punting. He's the fellow who's been doing it all season. Next Saturday here on ABC, here in the Big Ten country, you'll see Michigan State and Ohio State. Michigan State having its problems today. And a lot of you are going to see UCLA and Arizona State from the desert country. Well, Adams gets a pretty good kick out of there. A fair catch called at the 35-yard line by Anthony Hardy. And so the Boilermakers come out of it with pretty good field position. They'll mark it up on the 36 after a 36-yard punt. And you've got 4 ticks remaining on the clock. So from here on, after this one play, Purdue is going to be working into the wind, whatever there is, and it has quieted down.
The quarterback's going from our left to right, and McCarthy on this play is looking directly into that sun. As you'll see the shadows going from right to left, he's looking into that sun when he throws the football.
Cheney to the near side. Now he's buys some time. Gets it away over the middle. It's intercepted. Bad decision. Sistrunk picks it off. That is the 4th interception by Iowa. Dwayne O'Connor, the tight end, apparently was the target, but it was a very poor decision by young McCarthy.
But here's Sistrunk right here. Sistrunk is going to try and cut in front and get the football as he throws the ball late. He should have thrown this ball much sooner than he did. And Sistrunk, with good vision all the way, just cuts in front and makes the interception. 3 of the last 4 passes that McCarthy has thrown have been for interceptions.
Hartlieb going for Early. Too long. Well, he loaded it up, but getting a little bit of kick maybe from the wind overthrows him.
The key numbers here for Iowa: 396 total offense and turnovers for Purdue, 4, have really turned this game around in the second half. Purdue has had a couple of opportunities to get back in it, but have not done so.
Iowa coming into this ball game 4-3. They finished 7-4, 8-3. They're almost surely a bowl team because they take a lot of folks with them. Chuck Hartlieb. Bingo to Quinn Early. First down at the Purdue 42 in front of Chris Dishman one more time.
Out of bounds on the 42-yard.
Hartlieb came into this game with the highest completion percentage in the Big Ten and the lowest interception rate. So he's been on target all season long since he's had the opportunity to play. He's started 4 games and won 3, and the only loss was last week at Michigan when he threw for over 300 yards, a career high for him. But some of you may not know that Iowa started off playing 3 quarterbacks at the beginning of the year. Dan McGuire, Tom Paholski, and Hartlieb has won the job and doing a very good job at that.
Richard Bass in the ball game. Dave Hudson came out with a damaged hand. They're examining him on the sidelines as Bass on the first down play bangs in there for close to 5 yards. Iowa's been able to pick up a lot of yardage today running between the tackles.
You have to give credit to the offensive line. That line that was makeshift and moved around a little bit before the ball game. Hayden Fry moving Divis out and Schmidt taking over at guard. He's normally a tackle, and Alexander moving from guard to tackle. And they're doing a good job up front for the Hawkeyes.
Number 73, Herb Wester, jumped the snap count. And so the big fella from Nashua, New Hampshire, and I mean he's a big fella, 6'8", 290 pounds.
And he is probably the best offensive lineman that they have right now that is active.
Illegal procedure against the offense, 2nd down.
It's a funny thing to me in this business of sport now in basketball in a closed arena where it's noisy and loud and people can really get on your case. They point their finger right at you when you commit a foul.
Yeah.
In this burly game of football where you're wrapped in armor and well away from the crowd, they don't give you your name or number when you commit a foul.
Well, especially the offensive line, when the only time you get recognized is when you do something wrong.
That's right. It'll be 2nd down, about 11, and Chuck Hartlieb, looking things over, calls a timeout for conversation. School here at the University of Iowa, and they should be. Right now, the football team looking at 2nd down and 10+ yards. About 11. That's Early in motion, and Hartlieb throws it to him. Try to get him out there one-on-one. They figured that sooner or later Dishman's going to run out of energy, but Chris is still there at 13:37 to go in the ball game, and Iowa leading 31-14.
Early came into the ball game today leading the Hawkeye receivers with 32 and 3 touchdowns. He already has a touchdown today and a whole bag full of receptions.
9 catches. He needs 1 more for a new career high. He may get it right here. He does. Whoa, did Dishman put one on him that time, though? He got caught in that awkward position of having to turn back into the ball. And Dishman jumped him. It's going to be short of the 1st down, so it'll bring up 4th and a fair chunk, about 4. Early now with 10 catches and 132 yards. I just had to figure he was going to have a big day, didn't
you could tell that just by the style of defense and what Purdue does. And Iowa coming in as the leading passing team in the Big Ten. Purdue 8th in pass defense. You just figured that he was going to have a big day.
Rob Houtland now is going to Load one up. And it's a low line driver that is no good. He hit that ball from the 44, a 54-yard try, but the problem was that Rob didn't get it up, so he got a little boost out of the wind, and it just didn't quite get there. Shaking his head when he comes off.
Houghton is a good one. We got two of the finest place kickers in the Big Ten on the field here today.
Well, Pitt gets by Navy 10-6. Not quite what some people might have thought. Boston College run into a couple of bumps in the road too, and Duke is still leading Maryland.
That's a good ball game. Missouri and Oklahoma State.
Last we heard, Clemson was getting blown away by North Carolina State. Sean McCarthy gives it to Darren Miles, who's far and away the leading ground gainer for Purdue today. And on first down, he picks up 7 yards on the carry. That gives him a total of 51 on the day. The rest of the team in rushing, -10.
Number 35.
The ranks are pretty thin right now for the Boilermakers.
They were thin when they started at the beginning of the year, according to Akers.
Second down and 3. There's your problem with a 6'7" quarterback. One of the problems that go with being lanky like that. He hooks his foot. Oftentimes, you'll see the quarterback hooking his foot, or a lineman will step back and step on him.
Watch the guard right there.
Yep.
That's 69. Brenneman steps on his foot.
You got to get out of there in a hurry.
Yes, you do.
And sometimes it's hard to unwind that big frame and extract it.
Well, one of the key things for a good quarterback, you got to have good feet, quick feet. You know, people think about throwing the football and how strong, but good, quick feet is as important as anything else.
Probably hurt too. Brenneman weighs 275 pounds. McCarthy's pass is good. Nice, hard, zippy throw. Ball fumbled after the catch. Rolling around. Iowa's got it. Kelly Turner had the ball, but in his second effort, the ball got knocked loose, and the Hawkeyes have recovered it.
Turner is lined up right here as a tight end. He's going to release and hook to the outside, but watch as after he catches it, he's going to get slapped upside the face. That Quast 35 overruns him. Now watch as he comes back to the inside. Right there, he gets hit in the face and drops the ball. I think Quast caused it from behind. Got to hold on to that football.
Another turnover for the beleaguered Boilermakers. 31-14 Iowa leading with 11 minutes and 14 seconds to go in the game.
What's that, Purdue's 5th turnover?
Yep. This is Kevin Harmon.
Kevin Harmon is the ball carrier.
Hudson came out with a banged up hand in the last possession for Iowa. And he's not back yet.
Loss of 1 on the play. Second down, 11 from the Iowa 43.
The ball on the Hawkeye 43-yard line. Hartlieb gets it away downfield. The pass caught by Devin Harberts. And just a mild opinion, Harberts could very easily have been whistled for offensive interference, because watch him, he's going to give a shove to the defender.
He wants to go to the tight end crossing, but he sees Foster 31 right there and smartly takes it and runs around with it. Now he throws this ball up in the air for Harberts. Harberts sees it, comes back and makes the catch.
Just before that, however, just before we saw the ball get to him, he gave a goodly little shove to the defender.
Visco 49 fighting with Wester 73, gets out, puts some pressure on him and takes him down.
And it's first down for Iowa inside the Purdue 40. This is Kevin Harmon. You can certainly see he lacks the quickness of a healthy self as Derek Kelson makes the tackle on him.
So this was that play where they pulled the tight end back behind the line of scrimmage again, and they've had problems with that play all day long.
Yeah, it really has worked.
There's a lot of traffic back there behind the line of scrimmage.
Kevin will pick up about a yard on that carry. Hartlieb is now at 307 yards in the ball game. Another big day for him. This is Harmon on a sweep. Now a healthy Kevin Harmon probably gets around that corner a step sooner than he did. Gerald Williams and Kelson strung it out, made the tackle.
He's had an ankle sprain, and it's referred to by Ed Crawley, the trainer for the Hawkeyes, as a high ankle sprain. And I was in the training room yesterday, and Ed and I went to school together at Purdue. Ed's now the trainer at Iowa, and he was explaining to me, he had a little what should I say, a little gadget to showing the ankle there, and he was showing me all the ligaments and all the bones and everything. I said, Ed, what do you mean a high ankle sprain? He says, well, it's not a low one, it's a high one. He was showing me the end. He says it's very difficult to heal, and that's why Harmon has taken so long to get over that ankle sprain.
Time called by Iowa at 9:58, leading 31-14, and looking at third down and about 6. As we told you, it was a sellout crowd a long time ago for this ball game. In fact, I guess every game down here these days, recent times since Hayden came in and got some order restored here, and success followed success. And the folks have come loyally.
In fact, 49 of the 50 games that Hayden Fry has played on this field have been sellouts.
Chuck Hartlieb drills it. Quinn Early catches down at the 21-yard line. No, they'll put him out at the 22, and here's Mike.
Keith, the unsung hero of any college football game, especially if you're on the losing side, are the cheerleaders. How do you inject spirit in conditions like this?
Well, it's hard. We're down, but we're not out. We are still Rose Bowl bound.
Dream on, kid, at least not this year. And you know, Bob Greasy, this is a little tough for you to swallow, but we've got a special message for you, girls.
Sorry about the outcome of the game, Bob. Even though you're an old-timer, we still love you. Go Boilers!
Smart kids, aren't they?
Yeah. Carrying the ball is Richard Bass, a junior out of Omaha. And on the first down from the Purdue 22, he'll have 3 just inside the 19.
I got to ask Adamley how his alma mater's doing this year.
Don't ask me about mine either. Quinn Early now with his 11 catches is a new career high, also in yards as well as receptions. He now has 142 total yards. He had 133 against Mike's alma mater last year, Northwestern. Uh-oh, there's your contact. Hey, that big number 70 in the middle has played a heck of a football game for the Purdue Boilermakers, Chris Keevers. The man who moved on the play was Greg Davis, the left guard.
Illegal procedure, Iowa.
Dead ball, illegal procedure against the offense, second down.
As we wind down toward the end of this ball game, we will name the 2 MVPs, one from each team. And in the name of those players, Chevrolet will contribute $1,000 to the respective universities' general scholarship funds for young people to continue their pursuit of knowledge. Football now rests at the 24. It is second down and 12 for Iowa. Got some movement again. And again, it's Iowa. Well, you're getting new people into the ball game now. That oftentimes will happen.
Illegal procedure against the offense. Second down.
You're getting
Kimmerling's been busy.
You're getting some new people in there, Keith, and you're also getting some. It happens a lot when you get a team that is aggressive defensively, that blitzes, fakes like they're going to come, stunts right and left, and that's what Purdue has been doing. And the Iowa offensive linemen are jumping a little bit because of that.
So it's second down and about 17. Hartlieb. Strickland levels him. And did he pick it off? Yes, he did. Mark Foster came up with the interception as Fred Strickland, under a full head of steam, as they are wont to say down where Fred Akers came from, dehorned him. I mean, he really nailed him. Watch it.
48 is Strickland. Boom. He leads the Big Ten in tackles. In fact, he had 20 against Illinois. As you see, Foster, 31, picking it off. His third interception of the year for Foster.
I mean, old Chuck was just hung out there to dry. He was hanging on in a limp breeze on the clothesline and took the lick. Now from the 22-yard line, first down for Purdue. McCarthy back. Pass is caught. Paid for it, but Calvin Williams held on. There's Foster, the man that intercepted.
Gets around the first man, the corner, and then comes back for the football in front of the defensive back, Sistrunk, who made the tackle.
And it's first down, Boilers, up on the 38. Williams again. Got to look out for that second effort, because you take that first hit, and so many times that ball will pop out when you start struggling.
That ball will attract some defensive players, and if you get out of the first one, it just slows you up enough. Everybody else is right there to hit you.
McCarthy now in his first start at quarterback. 22 out of 36 for 252 yards and a touchdown, but there have been 4 interceptions. From the 49, first down Purdue. There's that little draw, and 1 yard for Darren Miles. Melvin Foster making the tackle for Iowa. He is a sophomore from Houston and an inside linebacker of the future. Brad Quast, starting inside backer, is only a sophomore.
That Quast was the Football News' freshman linebacker of the year last year, so they're well stocked with linebackers.
Second down and 9 from midfield. That ball is batted down at the line of scrimmage by Big Dave Haight, number 64.
Talking about the Iowa defense, Keith, Hayden Fry and his staff have been here 8 years, and 3 of those 8 years they have led the Big Ten in defense. And that's saying something when you consider the fact that Michigan always has a good defense. Ohio State's in this conference, and Hayden Fry's defense is getting its share.
Jim Johnson came off the field holding his arm like it might have been hyperextended on third down and 9. Down the middle, no. Intended for Kelly Turner. And the ball was there, I think, before Turner was really ready to accept it. Kind of flagged at it with one hand, and it'll be fourth down, and Purdue will have to punt.
Turner had his eye on the linebackers. He was already looking at Foster, number 66, and already pulling it, short-arming it. Purdue with only 39 yards rushing and 252 yards passing, and that kind of tells you the story. Fred Akers said, we got to run today to have a chance to win, and they have not done that.
Remember, that's your quarterback back there doing the punting. Marciano was deep. Knuckleball upfield, line drive. Marciano has 2 blockers in front of him. That's Dishman. Chris Dishman makes another tackle for Purdue, but that was a boomerang for the Boilermakers as the ball comes all the way back to the Purdue 46-yard line where Iowa has it first down. And fools. On first down, from the 46. It figures the Iowa Hawkeyes now will just run out the clock, grind away with it. Tony Stewart, who's been out of the game for quite some time, back in now with fresh legs. 31-14. Hawkeyes have the game in hand at 6 minutes and 20 seconds to play. And coming up right after the football game, at 3:30 Eastern time, you'll have the St. Louis Cardinals and Minnesota Twins, Game 6 of the 84th World Series. Second down, 6. Grinding along Hudson. No, Goodman is in there, number 30. Grant Goodman. Hudson hasn't come back since he left the field with a damaged hand. Grant Goodman was a surprise starter for Iowa in the opening football game of the season against Tennessee.
Iowa has 3 good fullbacks, Hudson, Bass, and Goodman. And they had 3 good running backs, but 2 of them have been banged up. Bayless, as we mentioned, and also Harmon. And Stewart, the freshman, has played very well today.
The ball rests at the 36-yard line of Purdue. They need a half a yard. Hartlieb, the quarterback, keeps it. Pokes his head in the crowd and will have the first down. Tomorrow on the Disney Sunday movie, A Dog on the Run. Police barking up the wrong tree. Well, it's all going to happen in the exciting conclusion of the original Shaggy Dog movie. That's a great picture. Tomorrow on the Disney Sunday movie, 7/6 Central Time. And it'll come after the World Series on the West Coast if there is a 7th game.
And, of course, all of our fans up in Minnesota are hoping that they're thinking that there is going to be a 7th game.
Oh, I'm sure so. Indeed. First down for the Hawkeyes. Hartlieb stays in there at quarterback, gives the ball to Tony Stewart, and he runs for about 4 yards down to about the 30-yard line. Time ticking away. Iowa trying to grind out the clock and wrap up their 5th win of the season. Tight ends shuttling the plays in from Hayden Fry. Stewart again, bounces outside. Good move, good play, big gain. Inside the 20 and out of bounds at around the 16-yard line. And this ABC Sports exclusive brought to you by Coors, the beer with the difference worth tasting. Coors is the one. By AT&T, the right choice. By your Blue Cross and Blue Shield plan, who reminds you to carry the caring card. And by the heartbeat of America, today's Chevrolet. Moving the chains.
Illinois out in front of Michigan State by 7. If Michigan State loses and Ohio State, Michigan beats Indiana today, there'll be a bunch of teams in the Big Ten with 1 loss.
Staying on the ground, Tony Stewart carries for the Hawkeyes. And here's Mike.
Well, Keith, you remember at the top of our telecast, we talked to Coach Fred Akers, asked him if he could win with just a young guy like Sean McCarthy without much playing experience. He said emphatically yes. Well, obviously they're not going to win today, but I don't think there's any question, if you've watched this Purdue team today, that they will win in the future. This game is only 31-14. It's quite a deficit, but it could have been much worse. And I think Akers and his young staff have done a good job with this Purdue team. They're going to be heard from, maybe not this year, but next year for sure.
Takes people.
I think he's right, and I think that what Fred Akers was saying, too, was we need to get some of the recruiting years in.
Stewart, touchdown. I think Hayden Fry has found himself tailback.
I think he has, too, and he has just needed a little bit of experience. He's gotten that because of the injuries at that position, and he has that slashing, cutting style that can break some tackles and make some long runs. Stewart has 14 carries for 82 yards today.
Bob Houtland now will try to add the point. Hartlieb holds it, and the kick is good. 38-14 Iowa. While we were away, the kickoff returned by Hardy, and the return is out to the 32. The most valuable players of the game, big Chris Keevers, defensive tackle for Purdue. 12 tackles, and goodness knows how many assists. Chuck Hartlieb, quarterback of Iowa. Big day for Chuck after he finally got the designation at quarterback. He's had 2 big games in a row. Winning this one, losing the last one. Sean McCarthy, first start ever as quarterback for Purdue. He's been doing the punting. 6'7" youngsters, had a pretty good day himself. That pass misfires, intended for Anthony Hardy. Iowa jumped out to a 14-0 lead. Purdue came back. Iowa then made it at 21-7. And Purdue got another touchdown. Iowa added 2 more and a field goal, and that's where we are. 38-14. The score with 2 minutes and 59 seconds to go in the ball game. McCarthy on the day, 22 out of 39 for 259 yards, but he has been intercepted 4 times. 2 of them certainly not his fault. Carrying the ball, Darren Miles. And you could hear that lick all the way in Ottumwa as he really took a pop from Melvin Foster. Georgia has finally struggled back after falling behind 14-0 to take the lead over Kentucky at 17-14, and Maryland squeezes out a 1-pointer over Duke after Duke led virtually the whole game. And North Carolina State was clobbering Clemson the last time we heard. Miles shaken up on the play now, is going to have to leave the ball game. Medlock, who had been their principal running back, James Medlock, not able to play today because of a deep thigh bruise. Two minutes and 40 seconds showing on the clock as we wind toward game number 6 of the World Series. Following our game here, the Homer Dome in Minneapolis. Sean McCarthy's pass is tipped, but he still gets it to his man. It is, however, short of the first down, caught by Robert Oglesby. That's coming up next. Game 6. The pitchers, Les Straker, a left-hander named Tudor. ABC's NFL Monday Night Football next Monday comes out of Cleveland, the Los Angeles Rams and the Browns. That's at 9 Eastern time. Next Saturday, we'll have Michigan State at Ohio State in the Big Ten country. The rest of you will be watching UCLA at Arizona State. It is 4th down and 4. Fourth and 4. Oilers go for it and don't get it. And so now Iowa can run out the clock, getting the ball back on the Purdue 39-yard line.
McCarthy's been high on a lot of his throws. You know, he's 6'7", and he may need to lower his sights a little bit to lower it to some of these receivers. Hardy is only 5'8". Some of these other guys aren't much taller.
Did you ever get to throw downhill to anybody?
No.
Paholski has come in at quarterback now for Iowa. Tom Paholski. Kevin Harmon carries, or no, it is Herb Larson in there carrying for Iowa as the Hawkeyes have this ball game in hand now, 38-14 with about a minute and 20 seconds to go in the ball game. And so the Hawkeyes are going to be 5-3 leaving this ball game. Today's game produced by Bob Goodrich, directed by Andy Sedaris, our technical director Doug Schmidt, associate director Jack Graham, technical manager Mark Smith. And banging in, carrying the ball. As the Hawkeyes now just want to run out the clock. Purdue has no intent of stopping it for a simple reason. There is no reason to stop it. The game is over insofar as the final score is concerned, 38-14. The rest of our people who have made this whole thing work today: unit manager Dennis Szabo, assistant to the producer Jim Ressler, Jay Altmeyer, statistician Dave Bernson, our spotter Todd Berry. The ball is at the Purdue 26. First down for the Hawkeyes, and we're now under a minute to play. And everybody's getting into the ball game now for Iowa. That was Marshall Cotton carrying for the Hawkeyes. Chuck Hartlieb, a big day for him, and a big win for Iowa.
And a big day for Quinn Early.
Phil Fontana, incidentally, who's been a friend and a colleague for so many years, 36 years at ABC, going to retire next week. So, Philip, bon voyage, old friend, and best wishes to you. That's Chet Davis carrying the ball. And he goes out of bounds, killing the clock at 12 seconds. Next Saturday, starting at 3 Eastern time, those of you in the Big Ten area, Michigan State and Ohio State. And the Spartans are struggling today with Illinois. And the rest of you will be watching the UCLA Bruins, undefeated in the Pac-10, and one of the top-ranked teams in the country, over at Tempe against a tough Arizona State. So John Cooper struggling with injuries, and had the memorable line when he said, as we mentioned early on today, that our team picture this year is going to be an X-ray. That's about as good a description as you could find. Could be the last play of the ball game. The game is over in Iowa City as the Hawkeyes beat Purdue 38-14.